I don't mind going to work. It's just that 8-hour wait to go home that's the real buzzkill. They make work fun. Dave and Dave Handball Sportscast now on iTunes.
And welcome back. It's the Dave and Dave Sports Handball Radiocast here on iTunes and TuneIn Radio. Rare interview. He's on Skype right now. Jake Plummer. Jake, how's the baby?
She's doing awesome, man. She's just growing fast, and she sleeps pretty good. So Colette's getting at least, good 5-hour stretches here and there, and 6 hours, which is amazing compared to the boys.
Before we start talking about the Plummer Bash, we have to talk a little NFL football, handball's greatest ambassador, and the quarterback that ended the Patriots' 11-game postseason winning streak back in 2005 to lead the Broncos to the AFC Championship game. Jake, 11 years later, we're still talking about Tom Brady. Can't get him off our minds.
Yeah.
We're fans, and the Patriots. Can any team beat them this year, Jake?
Yeah, of course. They're not easy team to beat, and if you're that team, you better study yourself before you really spend a lot of time studying them, because they're going to find whatever weakness you have. And just like, if you were in a fight on the playground and you were a dirty fighter and your buddy had like a cut on his arm, you just start rubbing dirt into it, and just mercilessly cause them to call, uncle. That's what New England does. They go after whatever you don't do well, expose you on that, and make like 5-6 plays a game off of that, and that's usually the difference. They also go and make a lot of plays, and Tom Brady is a master of just taking what defenses give him. But I'm really rooting hard for Brock Osweiler. He's a young gun. Left Denver, left a lot of people here in Denver mad, but not me. I really like Brock. He's the only other quarterback to start in the NFL that was born in Idaho. So
I bet you like that. Now,
he's a spud, man. I got to root for him. So I'm excited to see him go and take down Tom Brady and the Patriots. I'd love to see it happen. But it's no easy task. They're not an easy team to beat. It takes a whole team effort, everything. I always say, if you want to beat the best, like the Washington-Alabama game.
Wow.
Early in that game, remember when the QB threw the ball for Alabama and Budda Baker had it and he dropped it?
Yeah.
Those are the plays you have to make against the best. If you drop that ball, good luck. But if you make that play, then you got a shot.
Back to Brock Osweiler really quick. Didn't you have a hand in mentoring him when he was in college at when he was in college, coming out of college, going into the NFL?
Not too much. I mean, I stayed in touch with him and knew him a little bit just from my time at ASU. And then when he got out here, kind of took more of an interest in him, just trying to, see how he's doing. And it's crazy. I'm not messing with you right now. I just got a text from Brock Osweiler right now.
That's crazy.
Wow. Dude, that's
I
weird.
think Jake is understating his role with Brock, because I know that Brock had to have looked up to Jake a lot, coming from Idaho and then ASU. And I know that he worked with Jake quite a bit. And, you're not really the same type of player, because Brock is huge. He's 6'8".
Right.
So, he's got a lot of the skills that you have, but I just think being 6'8" is kind of like its own entity in itself.
Well, it's hard as a big quarterback in the league. You have to really, really be careful on how big your step is when you throw, dropping your elbow, because you can get away with the lower release. He struggles with that, but I spent a lot of time talking to him, just keeping him up, keeping him ready. I saw him this summer in Coeur d'Alene, and I'm going to probably,
for the Cleveland Cavs, a three-point shooter, getting rebounds, handling the ball.
Well, Jake, we talked a lot about the NFL. You retired in 2007. You dedicated most of your time to your foundation and promoting handball. You started playing handball as a young boy, playing with your brothers who were state champions and your dad who was also a state champion, and you never really let go of handball. You were always playing. What makes handball so special for you?
For me, and I think back to those times, and say I learned as a young boy. That was right. I was just a boy learning how to play a man's game, and you guys notice this, probably deal with it all the time when you teach young kids how to play. This is a very tough game for young kids. But I was that kid waiting for a crack, I should say, for the court to open up and my crack to jump in there and throw the ball around until, even on timeouts, I was in there. Even when guys would stay on the court, I'd just still go in there anyway. And it was fun for the fans of handball to see a young kid like me. That's why I love bringing the kids around the game now. I believe in today's world, it's even more important. I didn't realize the benefits that I received were so great until later on in my pro career. But the things I learned from handball, these kids that play one sport all year, they're on travel teams, they're going all around the country to play their one sport when they're like 14 years old, 13 years old. They're doing themselves a disservice. And that's why I always bring up handball to these kids, because it's you can find time to go play handball. I know there's time to go do something else. And doing something else was a lifesaver for me to get out of my sport that I was playing. Even though I played all three sports, sometimes there was a burnout there, even just in the time that the season of baseball was going on. Mm-hmm. And I'd go play some handball once in a while with my brothers. Whoever wanted to play, we'd go down and just hit the ball around. During my pro career, I played a lot in the off season when I was healthy and able to. And when I did my retirement, announcement from the Denver Broncos, I was at the Denver Athletic Club getting ready to go play in the doubles tournament. So handball's been a big part of my life. I attribute, my, I guess I would say elite ability to sense people around me and have spatial awareness. I credit a lot of that to handball. As you guys know, when you're on the court, it's a small area, and if you don't remember where the walls are, it hurts really bad to hit that wall, yet you still have to go balls out to get to it. So the skills I learned from playing handball were amazing. The hand-eye coordination, the ability to use my left side, a side that a lot of athletes don't even get to use, very much, except for lifting weights, and maybe basketball players and whatnot. But to be able to have, a weakness in your offhand become maybe not a strength, but to like conquer that and at least work on it, teaches you mental toughness. I can go on and on about the game of handball. I think it's a great sport to cross train. Back in the day, Babe Ruth, all these famous athletes, they all played handball, and then it kind of fizzled out. But what you guys do is awesome to bring the game out to the youngsters. I try my best to introduce it to any kid that I work quarterback drills with. You guarantee it, they're going to get a pair of gloves, goggles, and a ball, because I believe court time in handball is essential for any athlete that wants to be good at the sport they choose.
That's really cool to hear, and I know that you do so much with juniors. You have huge junior clinics, in Colorado and in Idaho, and it's so cool because, you're one of maybe our best ambassador we've ever had in handball. We talked about some of the sports you played. You were a 3-sport star, and you went pro in the NFL. You were a star quarterback in Arizona State, and then you went to the Arizona Cardinals, and then to the Denver Broncos, where you were really at the pinnacle of your sport. And had you chosen baseball, you probably would have been there as well in the major leagues. But you've had a front row seat since you started running the Bash in 2008. You played in the U.S. Open in 2007, watching and playing against and playing with the best handball players in the world. What similarities do you see between the top athletes you played with in the NFL and the top handball players that you watch and that you've played against and played with in doubles?
Well, that's a great question. And for the record, baseball, I was good in the field, but I could not hit a slider. So
you don't have to tell us that.
Well, I'm just an honest guy. I love baseball. You couldn't get a grounder by me. Obviously, I played handball, so I could turn it in the field at shortstop, third base, whatnot, but hitting the ball was tough. In any sport, when you're the best and you're at the top of that game, there's a dedication to your craft that the people below you, the ones that never make it, they don't quite have or don't quite understand. And I really see similarities with the guys that are the best in handball. There's a dedication to that craft. It's a way different sport. I mean, it's a one-on-one game basically, unless you're playing doubles and it's 2-on-2, where football is such a team game. So for me, even though I wasn't the best quarterback in the NFL, or even maybe not even the top 100 quarterback in the United States, what I was able to do was motivate my teammates, was able to get them to play better, which in turn made me better and made me the player that I was. Where handball, it's man versus man. So the dedication to your craft has to be so intense, has to be so on point. And that's where I really marvel at these guys that come in here and come up and play, Emmett Pichot, Luis Moreno, Sean Lenning, you, Dave Fink, yourself, Dave Vincent. You guys, you put a lot of time into playing the game, and playing as much handball as I've played, and then getting in the court with these pros. You realize, I said the stupidest thing maybe ever in my life was I'm going to go and try to play professional handball when I got done playing football. It's like, okay, should have started that about 15 years ago, because you guys just play so much. You're so good. Noddy Alvarado let me get 4 points against him when I played singles against him. Come on, and Noddy's like, that's a classy guy. But Dave, when I played you just in a pickup game, I could barely get 2 points. So, you guys could kick my ass because you're pros, where I'm a pretty good handball player, but it's just that level, that your dedication to the craft, your commitment, and the sacrifices you make, and a lot of practice, a lot of court time. And that's really where the greatest in any industry, it's got to mean something to them, and they got to spend time honing that craft.
Jake, I think you're being a little humble. I've played against you, and I've watched you play. I tell people all the time I thought that you had the makeup to be a top pro player if you just would have given it some more time, maybe 10 years, but you, of course, had that other career. You hosted the first Plummer Bash in 2008 and are now about to host the 8th edition on January of this month. What gave you the idea, as we look back in time, to host that very first one? What was that as we look back?
Well, it's funny you go back to that, and I'm thinking, what was it? I'm trying to remember what, made me want to do it, but I think it was just when I got done playing ball. That's a large part of my life that was gone, football, and the people that, really that I spent days and hours with in the locker rooms and on the field. That's what I really missed. I missed that camaraderie and that ability to have a crew of guys that knew me well, knew when to poke at me a little bit, knew when to back off, but they were my buddies, and we had a great time, playing ball together. I found that same kind of crew with handball and the handball players. And I know you guys know this. I mean, that's really some of the most fun is to be around the crew of handball guys, not just in your hometown, but across the U.S. We're all cut from the same mold. Most of them, there's a few of them out there you might not want to hang out with all the time, but damn near every one of them I've met has been good people that are fun to be around. So that kind of encouraged me to start something, to get back around you guys. When I went down to the U.S. Open down in California, but Noddy and those guys brought us down, and that was just a lot of fun to realize, wow, these guys are pros, but they're nothing like the pros I'd been playing football with. They're a lot more approachable, a lot more personable. Some of them had, day jobs. It wasn't like that's all they did was play professional football. So I really could relate to the players, and I felt like, in Coeur d'Alene, where I was living at the time in Sandpoint, we needed to bring some handball up there and try to get more people more interested in this game, get more coaches interested in the game, and kids interested in something other than the sports that they're being pushed to do and to play. And that really was what started it. We raised money for charities. The community up there has been so gracious and given us damn near everything we get is donated. Therefore, the money we raise goes into an account to ensure we can continue this, but a lot of it goes back to local charities. And man, we have a blast. It's the bash. It's the hell of a bash,
Yeah, we're all so grateful, Jake, that you did come up with the idea to start the event in 2008. You can see just by the participation that everyone wants to try and play, and that the event is sold out within maybe 2 weeks of putting the entry out, which is very rare. I don't think we really ever see that. And you see all the top pro players coming. This year, we have 9 of the top 10 in the world traveling to Idaho. You started in 2008 with the Bash, and we had most of the best players there then. And since that time, we've had basically every top player, men's and women's player in the world, come through the Bash at one point or another. Sean Lenning and Luis Moreno are the only 2 players that have played in every single Bash. There's been so many great matches and great moments. Oh. What's been your favorite moment in Bash history?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Going out to the bar and singing, doing karaoke with your brother and your sister-in-law? At the Irish bar
up there, yes. That was the parties at the after the tourney into the night, and hanging with these guys is probably my favorite moments. All in all,
Jake, did we go bowling one year? Did we do that? I know we either talked about. I hate to cut you off, but I mean,
no.
If we did,
I don't think we did.
I know that we talked about doing it.
Your favorite memory's not DV's imagination?
We might have
surprised.
done some bowling of other sorts, maybe the
I don't know.
handballs and like cans of empty handballs.
What about the twister that came down in Sandpoint that one year? I know it wasn't part of the bash, but it's what led to the bash. Remember, we had
Yes.
that little tornado thing that went through Sandpoint, and we played pickleball.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. You know, you guys did open this can of worms up by coming up to Sandpoint and putting on a little clinic and playing with all of us up there. And that's, you know, now that you say that, that is what really sparked this from the get-go, was getting the players that I love to play with in Sandpoint a chance to experience the pro game, because there's nothing better than watching the best of the best. I'll tell you this, one of my favorite times I had, and I want to make sure I think I got it right with who was there. It was me, Anthony Celesto, Mondo, and there was one more. It might have been Jonathan Iglesias. This is a couple years ago. It was late, like 10:30, and I was rounding up stuff, getting ready to leave, and they were down there by the courts, and then they said, "Hey, you want to play some ball?" And I said, "Sure." No gloves. We put on goggles. Maybe we didn't even put on goggles. We went in there barehanded, and I'd never played barehanded handball. I always had pads and gloves and heated my hands and all that. I went in there, and it was like, I learned so much watching how smooth they approached the ball when they were barehanded. We played a whole entire game in just our street clothes, and like everyone was waiting. It's 11:30 by the time we got done, and they're like, "You guys got to go." That was one of my favorite times that I remember, just handball moments. You know, getting to play with the pros, you know, those just go without saying. Those are just special moments, because not many people get a chance to step in the same court with Luis Moreno and win the tournament, you know. So for me, I just feel lucky to be able to do it, but lots of great memories and more to come. More to come.
Absolutely. You know, stepping on the court with the pros and then having fun while you're doing it. Those are things that it seems like are kind of synonymous with you and this event. As we look back, you know, speaking of having fun, I don't know how it can happen, but you have such a great family. The Plummer Hell of a Handball Family Bash is really just your immediate family, extended family. They play such a huge role, as big of a role that you play in the event to make the bash one of the best events in our sport. It must mean so much to you, Jake, to see your entire family sharing the same passion that you have, hosting handball players, the hospitality that just keeps going on. This actually reminds me a lot of a real cool throwback tournament that I remember, you know, in the 80s when I grew up starting to play handball, and that hometown club feel. And your family has really incorporated that. How does it make you feel to know that they share those same passions that you have?
Well, it feels really good, you know, to go to. I've been to a lot of tournaments, and I've been to some great tournaments. Anybody that puts on a tournament, you tip your hat to, because it takes a lot to put it on. I feel lucky with the cooperation we've had from a lot of people up in Coeur d'Alene that really make this at year 8, you know, just about connections, making phone calls, setting up times. I mean, it's that easy to some degree, but the whole thing about running it, I can remember when I was a kid playing, when my dad would tour around and go to some tournaments. And I just remember how much fun it was at the tournaments, where it didn't matter if I had a ticket. It didn't matter that I was, you know, a kid running around. I had free reign, and everybody encouraged you to get on the court and eat food and hang out. And I didn't even realize then as a kid that this all costs somebody something, or that sort of thing. But like I said, the food we get, everything we get is donated. I mean, the Iron Horse Bar and Grill, Texas Roadhouse, Big Bear Deli, Kootenai Health, all the food we get is donated. So I really can't charge people for food if you come to the tournament. So that was one thing I wanted, was like, if you come and you bring guests, you should be able to have beer and food and have a blast at the bash. That's really how it started. It's from my early memories as a kid going to tournaments where they welcomed you in with open arms. Chatton Hayes was one of those tournament directors that, you know, you guys know Chatton. I mean, she's the friendliest, most open person you can meet in the handball world. And those were some tournaments we traveled to when I was a kid. So it obviously left an impact on me. And that's why I wanted to carry this tradition on, to have, like you say, that down home tourney where I want the guys to come feel relaxed, don't feel pressured into doing anything other than playing some damn good handball. That's all I want to see. Is the crew we got coming up this year is sick. We're going to see some damn good handball for sure this year.
You know, Jake, segueing back into your football days, I was always a huge fan of your football game, and even before I went to U of A, you were at ASU. You were a star quarterback for ASU, and then 1996, I was in Tucson going to the U of A, and you had that incredible undefeated regular season, and you almost pulled off the national championship against Ohio State in that great Rose Bowl game. Came up a little short. I know you don't want to talk about that probably, but throughout your career. Throughout your career, you kind of morphed. At first, you were, this gunslinging bolt of electricity, making these amazing comebacks. And then, by 2005, when you led the Broncos to the AFC Championship game, you were known as No Mistake Jake for setting the Broncos record for most throws without an interception. And, you became this reliable kind of game manager, but also capable of making great plays. Who reminds you, what handball pro playing right now reminds you the most of yourself as a quarterback?
Oh, wow. Well, since you kind of painted me in a couple different lights there as far as like the swashbuckling gunslinger that I was when I didn't have a clue what, a 4-3 over defense was and a cover 3 or a cover 2 man under or whatever, I was just playing ball. So, man, I guess I'm like the handball player that the football player I was. That's me on the court now, kind of as a young age. I don't have a clue, really. I just chase that blue ball around. But pro players out there, I got to go probably with Lenning or Mondo as far as playing kind of outside of the traditional set of what you expect from your quarterback or what you would expect from the greatest that ever played the game. But it's really hard to say that because some of the greatest that ever played the game, in my estimation, a Randall Cunningham type, made so many outlandish plays that you never see anybody make in today's game, compared to a Peyton Manning who made a lot of great plays, but they were kind of boring to watch. It wasn't like he made 5 guys miss and then slings it 50 yards downfield for a touchdown. He was so methodical. So he was like the Dave Chapman, I guess,
right.
The very traditional technician that knew his opponent's weakness and went right after it and could predict where he was going. And that was not me. I was the react on the fly, kind of like I said, like Mondo, like Lenning. From what I've learned watching those guys play, I didn't know you could cut a ceiling ball like off one bounce. I never played 3-wall, but now I understand you can actually even cut a ceiling ball before it even hits the ground because I saw it done by the likes of Lenning and Mondo and Iglesias and these guys that just they love to play the game. They love to chase that blue ball around, and they just want to get it back however you can, whatever it takes, behind the back, whatever it is. To me, that's handball. To me, that's football. That's entertainment. That's why you play a sport. That's why you watch a sport. And that's what I would have to say about that is just those, my game has changed in handball tremendously. I'm not a game manager though. No way. I'm not No Mistake Jake. You'll see.
I would say kind of like Emmett Peixote. Dave, you remember Emmett in the early days, a shooter, and then now he's become sort of this methodical technician on the court, much like Jake in his early days, and then always a great though. I mean, Emmett always in the top 5. So
fun to watch still, and entertaining.
Fun to watch.
Even the guys that
crowd favorite
Chapman that were methodical, amazing to watch. I mean, just to watch those guys and how precise they are is that's why when you watch the pros, I always tell people that have never seen it, check this out. It might not look real hard because they're so damn good, but then watch me after they play and you'll understand like, wow, those guys are good.
This year's race stop, Jake, the Plummer Bash 8, takes on added significance because it is an official Race for 8 stop. It's the 3rd stop of the Race for 8 6th season. It's only the 3rd time that the Plummer Bash has been an official race stop. 2011 was the first ever race stop. We've had 35 race events since then, and 2013 was the 2nd. Now this the 3rd. So, you have a lot of people coming to the event, 100 players playing in the amateur divisions, and a lot of fans. But then you have these, 24 pro players that are coming in, and it's very, very serious for them. The intensity is ratcheted up tremendously from a race stop as opposed to just a traditional weekend tournament. And, you're going to see these guys very, very serious, and I think you're going to see the game played at a much higher intensity than you're used to seeing just because of what's at stake for all these guys. How did you deal with those biggest moments as an athlete, the biggest games when you felt like you really had to perform and you really wanted to perform?
Well, it's funny because we spoke a little bit earlier about the 05 and the Steelers and how we didn't pull that win out here in Denver.
Right.
But leading up to that game, it was funny because that whole season, even every year I've been in football, I'd never made it to an NFC or AFC championship game, so I didn't know what to expect. But the week leading up to the Steelers game, as a player, you have a routine. You like to stay in a routine if you can. You got to, by Tuesday, the Wednesday, you have your deals you like to do. Thursday, you get done. You like to go home. You like to eat this kind of food, and you have your way to go. Here, though, AFC Championship came, and on Thursday, instead of getting to spend my normal time that I would in the office studying the game plan, watching film till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, I had to go downtown and do an interview for all the talking heads, because we know who controls the NFL. It's not the players. It's these guys in suits and ties that some of them have never played the game. So it was hard for me to remain focused. I didn't want to go. I was kind of pissed off, but I had to. And, I didn't wear a suit. I wore a T-shirt, button-up shirt, and wanted to get the hell out of there so I could go back and watch film. And I even said that to some people. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. I want to go study so I can try to win this game. I mean, I'm right there. Dream is right there. I'm about close to getting to the Super Bowl. So, to get back to your question about how to, prepare for these things, you just got to stay on your routine. Try to eliminate distractions. That's what they always told us. Try to eliminate distractions. And that's what I hope to do with the Plumber Bash is that I tell you, Dave, many times, come bring the pros, tell them I won't ask them to do a damn thing, nothing. You know what? If you don't want to be seen in the club the whole entire time, you do that. But when you come step onto the court, we want to see you put it down. We want to see you play some handball. And every year leading up till now, I think that's what we've gotten. I mean, Fink, you've given us more than ball. You've been an entertaining, personality on the court. Also, why I always say you've got to be there, because I love those kind of players that get people talking, that stir the crowd up. And so, these guys, they're going to be playing for big stakes, but I hope that they understand that, all I ask for them is that they come hang out and let me know how we can help their, lead up to their big moment, big game, whatever it is, big match. Let us know how we can help them and just come play ball. That's all I ask.
Like I've always said, Jake, Dave Fink is the Odell Beckham Jr. of handball. So, hey, unlike football, where a fan would literally be broken into two by Von Miller or Terrell Suggs, a fan can often play with and alongside a handball player in a pro pickup game or just an amateur game or tournament matches without spending the next 3 years in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
Is there a part of that appeal to this game that you can analyze for us? I mean, why, I'm interested in watching a heated handball match that ends at it's close to a tie and it comes down to the last point. But I'm also very interested in watching a guy get his head knocked off in pro football. I don't know, what part of me likes what, but can you analyze that at all about handball?
That's yeah. As far as being able to play with the pros, I got a chance in the Canadian Nationals to play with Chapman. And that was amazing. We got to play some amazing players, some guys from Ireland. And as a Joe, the amateur for me, when you get in there and you hit a shot and it works, you're not going to do that to make a living, but God damn, you did it against the best in the business. And it's a great feeling. Fans of football always love to have the experience where you get on the field, you catch a punt, maybe you get a QB out there to rifle you some balls. People don't understand playing catch in the backyard, and if you were to catch a skinny post from me, you probably split your fingers, get some blood, or even jam a finger, or even break a finger, because you're just not ready. It's a physical game. Football is. It's not an individual sport. Handball is an extremely physical game also. I mean, it takes a toll on your body. If not for that fact, I would be playing a hell of a lot more handball and traveling around playing more matches and tournaments. But my body was beat up by football. And like you say, Dave, the violence is an appeal for people. They're trying to make the game safer. I really don't think that the game can be made any safer from snap to tackle. They can do some things to limit, how guys come into piles. I don't like seeing guys that they blow up on the big screen. One of the first tackles of the game, Alabama versus Clemson. The safety came up, dove with his hands down, head at the guy's knee, and he tackled him, but that's not a tackle, that's hitting. And if we can eliminate the hits and start teaching tackling, that's going to make the game safer. Not engineering the helmets to take on more impact. The brain is going to suffer as long as this game's being played and you allow guys to come in with their hands back like that and not use their arms and their shoulder pads to tackle. And so there's really no correlation in the game of handball and football when it comes to the violence, but the toll on the body is for real. Handball, I watch you guys walk around during this tournament. Some of them playing also in the pro-am doubles. It's hard. It wears you down. So there's mutual respect from me to the handball players that play at the high level.
For somebody that hasn't played football, how are you supposed to tackle these guys? Because some of these running backs are 230 or 240 pounds. You can't just bring them down by wrapping them up with your arms. I mean, it's almost like you have to bring them down like you're a truck and throw yourself into them.
Well, no, you go to a rodeo and you watch these little 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids doing mutton busting. They're not going to run up and put their head down and knock that sheep over. No way, man. They're going to wrap him up, hold on to him, get kicked in the balls maybe a couple times, but they're going to hold on till that mutton gets busted. And that's what you do. That's how I did it in grade school, playing at recess. You don't have a helmet on, so you learn to play without a helmet. And yeah, there's big dudes in the league, and that's one more reason. I'm glad you said that. While you can't make this game safe. It's like two big, huge Mack trucks running into each other. There's going to be more damage than if it's just two little, Scirocco's or Geo Metros. It's just the weight, the speed of these guys. There's really, I don't think, anything you can do.
Well, we've referenced the popularity of the Plummer Bash, almost like a Springsteen concert. It sells out almost instantly. Everyone really looks forward to watching it, playing in it, being a part of it. What can the players and fans expect on and off the court this year in Coeur d'Alene?
Really the same thing. A lot of great people. We've reached a point now where people are coming up to Coeur d'Alene from all over. It's not just the Northwest from Seattle, Washington, and Idaho, Montana, some Oregon. I mean, we're getting guys and players from all over the country, from California all the way out to New York. If they can make it, guys are setting it as something they really want to try to get to. Thanks to you guys for spreading the word about what a great tournament it is, and thanks to my family and all the support. It really is a great time. I mean, the guys come up there, have a great time. Gary Redder there at the club has made big-time renovations to allow for even more space now. Maybe not as much viewing space by the show courts, but at least more space to spread out, to relax, to really get a feel for these guys. And I know that the fans really they love getting a chance to sit and chat with Luis Moreno and put a character to the name. And once you get to meet these handball players, I mean, for me, that's been the best part, is getting to become friends with Sean Lenning, Luis Moreno. I mean, these guys I look at, and I know handball's not the NBA or the Major League Basketball. They're the best at what they do in the world. So those kind of people you should get to know, because they're the best at what they do. They're driven to succeed. They have mad skills. And so the fans are going to be there to root these guys on, and anybody that comes up to play. I mean, we're going to have obviously a great shirt. We always make a great shirt and good food and good service and just good people hanging out.
And there's some always really cool after parties that we can't talk about. Coeur d'Alene's sort of like the Vegas of handball destinations when you're involved. I mean, I'm recalling bowling tournaments that never even happened. That's how good that place is. Jake, looking back at the tournament over the years, it's been a huge success. Those that are watching now could get more information about handball and this tournament at WPHLive.tv, where we will be there on site running the professional Race for 8 handball tour. And more so, it's really a showcase for the pro players, like you say, to mingle with the fans. I believe that if this facility had 10 courts, you could get up to about 300 to 500 players. I mean, I know how tough this must be for you when you cap the tournament and say, we're only going to allow 100, and here at the last minute, where handball players live at the last minute, as you know, Jake. Those procrastinators could boost your attendance up to 200 or 300 people in just a matter of moments. So I know it must be really hard for you.
It does get hard. You got guys that have been there every year. They're number 10 on the wait list. We're already at 103, and I know that at least 5 to 6 guys signed up to play doubles, but their doubles partner didn't sign up. So then there's another 5 or 6 you got to add in. So before you know it, we're at 110. We're there anyway. Just adding the name of a doubles partner doesn't matter. The matches count. But it's hard, because we put this out. We're not going to put out the entry form the day after the tournament. It gets put up when I get around to it. And then Dave, scrambles, gets everything done. We get it done. But people know it's out there, so I feel bad, obviously, when you've got guys and people that have come for every year since that you have to say, hey, I'm sorry, we'll wait and see if someone gets hurt. But now you get to feel what it's like to be a free agent. You get cut from an NFL team. You can watch the games on Sunday with a different perspective. You're waiting to see a guy get carted off, and if he's got the number that you usually wear on, when you were playing football, then your phone might start ringing. So the guys that are on the wait list, don't give up hope. But yeah, sign up early is what I tell them. Get on there. Vic Aisa from San Fran, he's the first entry every single year. I mean, I try to trick him even, and he's number one. He always signs up first. So take it from Vic, who's a true pro and playing in the 70s this year. He's going to dominate that for another decade. You got to get in line. You got to sign up, and then you guaranteed a spot.
I love that guy. He's a cool dude. Yeah. You have a lot of passion for football. You look like you're lean and mean right now, Jake. You look really good, and I know you love the sport of handball. But there's some other things that are going on in your life right now. I can tell there's just a whole different change. I know you gave birth to a new baby girl recently within the last few months, and you also are launching a couple businesses, a couple different business ventures. Most recently getting involved back with, I would say, football, not necessarily the NFL, but hopefully the NFL in general, for a interactive smart app playbook program that you're launching. Can you explain what Ready List Pro is and how you got involved in it? And when I go to the website, I see your face all over that website. So you must be either an owner or an investor or the spokesman. I mean, talk about Ready List Pro, and maybe you can answer some of my questions.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown. So people listening, my first thing I'm going to say is you just treat people well. You should anyway. It's just how you should live your life. You should be a nice person and kind. And if someone's not kind to you, like my grandma said, kill them with more kindness. And I got a chance. This kid came to my door who was a rookie out of the Colorado School of Mines named Chad Freehoff. He was the Heisman Trophy winner for Division II, basically, the Harlan Hill Award winner, quarterback, big, tall kid. He was a camp arm in 2005. Of course, I took care of him, tried to help him learn, tried to help him make the team, do whatever I could to help this youngster succeed. And didn't see him for quite a while. And about 3 years ago, he came and called me and came over and presented to me a PowerPoint with an idea that is now the Ready List Pro. We launched this weekend or last weekend in Nashville at the AFCA, which is the American Football Coaches Association convention. Like you said, Dave, it's a fully interactive playbook teaching and learning tool. There's a lot of playbook stuff out there to draw your playbooks and to diagram them and all, but this has the testing capabilities like nothing on the market. It's similar, say, like for the Rosetta Stone to learn a foreign language. A playbook that's 4 inches thick is like a foreign language to a lot of people. Even football players coming out of college don't have the knowledge they need, or out of high school to transition to college, the knowledge of football that they need. So our hopes is that this can teach kids at a faster rate, help them have more precise study time and use all the facets of learning. Also, hopefully help their retention rates, cut down on mental errors. We had great reception at the AFCA. We've had a few college teams using it already and a couple high school teams. And so it's really exciting. This kid came to my door because I was nice to him. And I think we're onto something that could be pretty big. Obviously, if it goes right, does what we hope. We're getting an opportunity to demo it with the Cleveland Browns at the Senior Bowl, which is huge. It's like connections, man. It's what it's about. Hugh Jackson coached me at ASU. He's the coach at Cleveland. I think they're 1-15. Something like this could be highly beneficial to their team, and I'm excited about it. I am invested. I'm part owner. I am kind of the face of this Ready List Pro, but it's a lot of fun to get back in touch with old coaches and old players. It's basically what my job is. Call them, show them the product, and hope they buy it. And I don't know where it's going, but it's been fun so far.
Yeah, it sounds like a great ride. Just going onto the website, it only took me 5 minutes to realize that this was the next best thing. And I'm not even in that business, but I am in the business of watching as a fan, and I can just see how interactive and how mobile this app is, and how much paper you're going to save while you're keeping the world green. What a great stamp that you can put on the environment with something like this. And I'm not one of those tree hugger types, but Jake, you look at this and you say, I can only imagine that there's 500 pages in some of these playbooks, and you have it all interactive on a mobile app that you can take anywhere, that you get a Wi-Fi signal on, and in some cases, you can even be offline. Very, very intriguing website, and we hope you the best of luck. And Dave and I want to help you promote it as well. So,
well, you are right now. I mean, any high school coach or college coach, any levels, it's good from the pros down to Pop Warner. You know, it's not just for the pros. It's for anybody that wants to gain a better knowledge and understanding of the game of football, and hopefully help them make the team, hopefully help them get a scholarship, whatever it is. It's just going to hopefully help players be more efficient out on the field.
Even fans, though, too, because, Jake,
True.
I think if you came into our office and heard Dave and I talking football, you'd cringe. So, Dave, you and I could probably learn a lot, maybe not embarrass ourselves so badly around someone who knows football.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully that will be something down the road, a fan app, so they can have a playbook and actually see what X's and O's mean and look like for real, rather than just on their Madden console.
Yeah, I was cruising through the website and I couldn't believe some of the terminology. I mean, I could, if somebody was going to press me and say, come up with a play call, I could come up with something that was a good BS story. But after reading that, I said, wow, there's just so much more involved in this game. It's a lot like the Game of Thrones. The characters, everything's interwoven, and it's just so deep and intense. And you look at the playbook and you say, wow, this is outstanding. I mean,
the crazy thing is coaches will have the same exact play. Most all the coaches run everything. It's the same stuff. No one has some unheard of offense that no one's ever seen. If they do, then it gets copied and everyone's running it. So, but they'll call a scoop in Atlanta a slop in Denver. I mean, it's just, so you got to learn the language.
Right.
As soon as you learn the language, it's still the same thing. Like, I got to reach the tackle and double up to the linebacker, or I got to gap protect. Well, they might call it something else. So the quicker you can learn that, hopefully you play with a lot quieter mind, you play fast, and you make the team, really.
Here's something that can help you do both. Talk about a quieter mind and putting yourself into a place where you can relax. CW hemp oils, Jake, are really growing. Athletes taking a hold of another product that you can truly get behind. Can you explain a bit more about your involvement and the product itself? Because I've been hearing about you talking about it and the product for, it seems like 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, I'm not sure, but can you talk about this with us?
Yeah, it hasn't quite been 3 years, but a couple years back, I got the opportunity to experiment and try the oils. And I'm glad you say hemp oils, because most times I do an interview about this advocacy that I'm involved in. Everyone, they start off by saying, "Hey, Plummer, advocating for marijuana use in the NFL." And I haven't once said that. I haven't once gone and said the players should be allowed. Well, I have probably said that grown-ass men bashing their brains and bodies around should be able to take something like marijuana if they want to without being penalized. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. Now, hemp oil is from hemp, which a lot of people don't even know there is a thing called hemp. They just think it comes in a granola bar. So there's two different strains of the plant of cannabis, marijuana and hemp. They all contain compounds. Hemp has close to 110 different compounds in it. They all work together as an entourage effect to help you, whether it be anxiety, help with depression, help with sleep. Where they really made a big difference was with young children with rare forms of epilepsy like Dravet syndrome. That's who the company and what the product is named after. Charlotte Figi, a young girl who was basically written off. Hospice said, "Sorry, we're done. You're on your own. We have nothing else we can do. She's basically going to die." Well, her parents found the Stanley brothers here in Colorado. They were making what some people know as Rick Simpson type oil from hemp plants that they'd gathered out off of ditches out in Kansas. That it grows wild, out in the middle of nowhere. And they made this oil and they gave it to this little girl when she was written off, basically seized for the 2 hours that she was awake during a day. and she is now 9 years old, seizure free. So the proof is right there that there's something to this extract. There's something to these oils. I've felt the benefits tremendously with inflammation. As you can imagine, we talked about getting beat up and getting hurt and all that with football. And even now playing handball, the recovery time for me is much quicker after I play a game of handball. And the inflammation I used to feel in my knees and occasionally having real bad headaches, and cold weather would come, my shoulder would ache and my right wrist would hurt. I couldn't even do down dog or push-ups because my wrist hurt so bad. It's all gone, and I've done nothing else. I still drink beer. I still eat popcorn. I still eat the food I love. I don't do yoga every day of my life. I do it every once in a while. I'm not a crazed workout warrior. I just take these oils, and it's helped me feel a lot better. So I wouldn't be behind them if it didn't help me. I wouldn't be advocating for them if it wasn't something that I was benefiting from. They pay me a small stipend to do interviews and talk about it and spread the word, but I don't have any stock in the company. I'm not selling you Advocare with 30% of the stock or being paid $150,000 to tell you how great it is. You should take it. I'm telling you about CW Hemp because everybody deserves a chance to feel better and have a natural choice in order to do that. We have an opioid epidemic and a prescription drug epidemic sweeping across our country. It's causing healthcare costs to go way up. It's causing people to be sick, get sicker, and even get sicker after that. And I feel this is a chance for them, if they're open-minded, anybody out there, to check it out, try it out. If it helps you, then tell someone else about it. And if it doesn't, then at least you tried and you at least took action for your own health. And we're trying to get it into the NFL. Again, not trying to allow, guys to have bong hits at halftime. We're just trying to get this oil in the NFL because it's showing capabilities as a neuroprotectant and an anti-inflammatory. It is patented by our government as a neuroprotectant for the brain and an anti-inflammatory. And when they want to fix the helmets and make them that much more resistant to impact, we have a product here that grows naturally with no side effects that could possibly armor the brain internally. So I know it makes sense to you two, and I hope more out there listening it makes sense to. And ultimately, I hope it makes sense to Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith, the guy who runs the NFL and the guy in charge of the NFLPA. Let's come together and research this. Let's put some money into the research and stop fighting, whether someone's balls have enough pressure in them, spending millions on that rather than spending 1 million on some very, very vital and important research being done by Johns Hopkins University, University of Penn, to study the effects that this oil, this naturally occurring extract from hemp, what it could do for these players. It quite possibly has the ability to save the game. And I'm just excited to be a part of it. Also, it goes hand in hand with what I'm doing with the Ready List. I get to see old coaches, old players. I get to talk to them about the Ready List and then say, hey, give me a call. We'll talk about hemp oil. If you're not feeling too good these days, it's something that's helped me.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jake. It's CW Hemp Oils. What is the website or reference that we can have when we go to that website or to just try to find out more information?
Yeah, cwhemp.com. And I'll even use SNAKE. If you want to punch in SNAKE in the coupon code, you'll get 10% off. So check it out. Also go to the Realm of Caring website. That's the people that really started administering the oils to the sick kids with epilepsy and ailments that no one could help them with. They now have a database of 26,000 patients that have taken their oil for, you name it, things that you've never even heard of, fibromyalgia. I mean, stuff that people are getting no help from their doctors. They're only getting sicker, and a lot of them can't take a poop because they take 6 or 7 prescription pills. Go to the roc.us, and there's a research database there for everything you can imagine under the sun of things that people have had actually benefits with. Now, I'm not guaranteeing this, saying that no matter what you're going to feel better, but at least go check it out, research it, learn a little bit about what you might be able to do for your own personal health and wellness.
All right, Jake, I'm going to put you on the hot seat here. Are you ready?
Do it.
This is some word association. You're going to say the first word or phrase that comes to your mind. Luis Moreno.
Just bash.
Mondo Ortiz.
And one.
Tom Brady.
Machine.
Emmett Peugeot.
Retriever.
Race for 8.
Epic.
Sean Lenning.
Oh, man. Freak.
Aaron Rodgers.
Precise.
Now, are you ready for some Bash trivia? You've hosted and watched pretty much every match that's ever been played in the now 8-year history of the Bash.
Yeah, wait a second on this. Wait a second on this, Jake. Let's go back to Aaron Rodgers really quick.
Okay.
Do you I find a lot of people ask me if you played like Aaron or if you two were comparable. Do you ever say that's kind of my game? That scramble out and throw a bullet and
Nah, there's similarities, but he's taken it to a whole nother level. His release is impeccable. His ability still to work the pocket. I find that we're nowhere alike as far as personality on the field. So it's hard for me to compare myself to him just because, he's out there. I look for quarterbacks that are passionate and going crazy and enjoying every minute of it. Sometimes it looks to me like he's a little aloof, but it's because he's so damn good. I think sometimes it's just easy for him out there, and it never, ever was easy for me.
This interview has been really easy for you, though.
It's flowing, man. Yeah, I just got done with my podcast earlier, so I'm in a talkative mode.
You're doing good, man.
We're ready for the trivia now. Do we have any wacky music to go?
Yeah,
we do? Okay.
Yeah.
Who played in the first men's Pro Bash final in 2008?
Oh, dang. Wow. Luis Moreno and Nadi Alvarado?
Close. It was Nadi Alvarado and Alan Garner.
Oh, Alan Garner. Dang. Sorry, Alan. My bad. You've only been to a couple.
How many Bash titles has Sean Lenning won?
Sean Lenning has only won one.
Incorrect.
None.
Still looking for his first.
He's
been in the last two finals.
I was either none or one, but I had to give him credit as I expected he had at least one.
Thought he was going to win that one last year.
He looked like it. He had a big lead.
Doubles, though. He might get one in the doubles this year.
That's true. You're playing with the freak.
Yeah,
we have a snake and a freak playing doubles together.
This is the third year that the Bash is going to be an official race stop, meaning that there's been a qualifier in the first two. Who's the only qualifier to appear in a men's Pro Bash final?
Mondo?
That's correct.
Wow.
That was the hardest question.
Yes.
Nobody's ever gotten that. That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
How many pounds of homemade lasagna have been consumed in the 7 editions of the Bash?
Well, I just was looking at that and figuring out how much more we need to get on the order form, and it's like I think somewhere around 73 pounds.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
Per tournament.
We got a little leftover from last year. We might roll out.
Okay.
That's only
I don't think anyone would mind.
So you might be you're helping, Dave.
It got your aunt and your mom dishing it out.
Yes.
Awesome.
How many current Race for 8 men's pros are entered in this year's Bash?
I think 8.
16.
16?
9 of the top 10. 16 total.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's awesome. Nice work, DV.
Good work, Jake Plummer. My God. Hey, Jake, we're going to let you go. It's been a great interview, man. We can talk forever. I know that you had your own podcast that took place right before this. Talk about that really briefly as we head on out. Dave, I know you subscribe and listen to it. I do as well. How can people get on and listen to your podcast? We're on iTunes and TuneIn Radio. What are you on?
Well, right now, 5280 Sports Network. It's a buddy of mine in the media here started his own little network, so that's really where it's at. And I don't think you can find it on iTunes or TuneIn, but that's why I'm doing it. It's fun. I'm not trying to take over the world with it, but if you want to find it, it's called Snakes Takes on 5280 Sports Network. And I'm on Twitter at Snakes Takes. So if you follow me, you'll get a direct link to the podcast when I tweet it out. I have a good time. We talk football. I try to have fun. I try to bring up things that maybe make people look at football in a different light, or even anything, like the Consumer Electronics Show, where you got a smart toilet that, heats your toilet seat up and reminds you to take a poop, I guess. I don't know. So, we talk about all kinds of stuff.
You're getting old enough now. I think you're what, almost 42 now, right?
I'm 42 on the
so
dot.
you need one of those seats.
Yeah. I'm all right with just the normal things in life. I don't need all that technology.
None of that fancy crap.
Yeah, not on a toilet. So I'll spend money on fancy crap at the bash, right?
That's right. You better. I mean, that lasagna's fancy.
Hey, I got a question for you, Fink.
Yes.
What's the most important thing when you're gearing up for a tournament to make sure you do to your body to prepare?
Well, I think that you need to eat right. I think you need to get the right amount of sleep, and you need to figure out a way to have your body peak, for that first or second round into the tournament. So you want to push yourself hard right up until about 3 or 4 days before the tournament, and then sort of slowly let your body recover so that you're as fresh as you possibly can be while still being sharp. So I would say eating the right food, a lot of sleep, a lot of hydrating, and making sure that you're sharp and, going through your routine so that you're confident. A lot like you said, how your routine was disrupted there in 2005 before the AFC Championship game. You want to try and stay in your routine. So, for the pros, we're used to traveling on Thursday, getting in, doing what you need to do on Thursday night, getting the right dinner, getting the right amount of sleep, and then being ready to play on Friday.
And also CW hemp oils.
Hey now.
I mean, that would help out,
Yeah,
too.
I think so.
Yeah.
We got a nice gift bag this year for the pros, so you guys will be very excited when you open that up.
I love the way this sounds.
I still wear my Under Armour watch from 2008.
Hey, nice. I love it. Well, you guys have all been, both of you, huge helps in the bash and what it's become. So I am very appreciative of your support and help. I know, like myself included, I look forward, myself along with many others, look forward to seeing you guys here soon. It's always one of my favorite events of the year.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're going to see you in just in a week's time.
Right. Can't wait.
All right, Jake. It's the Dave and Dave Sports Handball Radio Cast on TuneIn Radio and iTunes, as well as WPHLive.tv with Jake the Snake Plummer. Handball Bash going to come up January 20th through the 22nd in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho at the Peak Health and Wellness. Want to thank Gary Ritter for allowing us to be there, Jake. I mean, he's really one of the nicest dudes to allow us to really take over his facility. I don't think he has another sporting event that can come along to a regular athletic club like this where the spectators are really going to take over his whole club.
Oh yeah,
like he's going to here soon.
We're going to do it. It's going to be a madhouse, and he's going to be worried about parking, but that's all right. We got it figured out. We got an extra parking place for us, so
we have to do a shuttle from the other parking lot, from the other side of the building. Jake, thanks for the call-in on Skype today, and we appreciate everything. We'll see you in about just a week or a little bit more than that.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was a true pleasure.
9 out of 10 people have never heard of us. Thanks, Mom. It's the Dave and Dave Handball Radio Sportscast on iTunes, WPH Live TV, and TuneIn Radio.